Hello, fearless singers. This is Carissa with the Bold Vocal, and in this lesson, we are going to go over some basic foundational skills. Whether you're brand new to singing or a seasoned pro, visiting and revisiting these simple vocal tasks will align you with your best singing practices. Over time, they become automatic good habits, and they replace any bad habits you might have been using in the past. Let's begin with the breath. As singers, it is the fuel in our engines. I'm going to say a phrase that I want you to remember. It will fix so many of your so-called problems in an instant. Here goes. The quality of your breath determines the quality of your voice. I'll say it again. The quality of your breath determines the quality of your voice. It is literally where good singing begins and ends. It's the alpha and the omega. Close your eyes and take a deep round of breath all the way in till you're full and all the way out till you're empty, and follow your trajectory with your mind's eye. Good. Now do the same thing while placing your hands on your low belly by your belly button. Follow the breath all the way down to your hands on the inhale, feeling the abdomen expand as the breath fills it. The low chambers of your lungs expand like a balloon. Then you let all of the air out and squeeze your abs at the very end to push that very last bit of air out of the lungs. Once you relax your abdominal muscles, the air should just drop right back into the lungs, nice and low. Good. That is what we call one round of breath, from the initiation to the completion of the breath, and then back to inhaling again. For our next exercise, we will complete 3 rounds of breath, letting one flow right into the next, and you'll want to avoid holding your breath or pausing on either side. When you're full of air, exhale, and when you're out of air, inhale. Try not to overthink it. Your inhales will be shaped like you're sipping air through a straw, making an ooh shape with your lips. The exhale will be on a TSS sound, like if you popped an inflated bicycle tire. Make sure you're using a good amount of air pressure. The hissing sound should be pretty loud, so don't be shy about it. We're going for 3 rounds without stopping in between, beginning with the inhale through the straw. Here we go. Great. So if your breaths weren't lasting as long as mine, that's okay. If they were lasting a little longer, that's okay too. You just want to get into the rhythm of your own breath, filling all the way low into the belly when you inhale and exhaling all the way out till you feel the squeeze on the exhale. Beautiful. For the next round, we will do the same thing, 3 full cycles of breath. This time we're going to use a descending scale from the top of your range to the bottom, either on a lip roll or a tongue roll. If that's hard for you, you could try a tongue roll. Or if neither of those are quite working for you today, just on a nice like a good morning yawn or stretch for the voice, okay? So starting with the sip of air through the straw, and then top of the range to the bottom of the range, sigh it out. Here we go. Good. Adding a little bit of body movement and an opposite movement of pitch to this exercise. As you inhale, you will tense all of your muscles and hug your shoulders up high by your earlobes, really squeezing all of your muscles tight. On the exhale, you will lip roll from low in your range to the top of your range, so the opposite of what we just did, allowing your shoulders to be at their lowest, most relaxed point as soon as your note is at its highest point. The shoulders will stretch downward as the voice stretches upward. So in other words, as your voice gets higher, your body gets more relaxed, okay? We want to train ourselves to feel relaxed in high parts of our register. Great. Inhale, squeeze everything up tight. Good. If you have any breath left over at the end, you can just exhale it out. Let's do it again. Inhale. Last one. Inhale, squeeze tight, so tight. Great. It's a little silly, but we really want to get all of that tension out of the body as we start to sing. And especially as we go for high notes, we really want to think of them as being in a relaxed place in the body. Feel free to do more of those if you need to. Now we're going to begin to carry our quality breathing techniques into our singing. Remember, the quality of the breath determines the quality of the voice. So as we work through scales, you will hear 2 chords played back to back in between exercises. This is so that your ear may adjust to the new key, right? We were here, and then now we're here. But you may also take advantage of this time to take a full, rich breath. It's a habit I want you to start thinking about when you're working through your songs. You don't always have the luxury of a lengthy break between phrases to breathe, but when you do, you should definitely take advantage of that prime real estate to take that lengthy and relaxing inhale. So you have all of this time to get it done. Right? So when you hear those, make sure you're completing your exhale and also taking a full, rich inhale on that break. Beginning with the ah vowel. Here we go. So notice that we started with open vowels, ah and o, and then we moved to kind of a middle ground, a, which whenever we have the word a, I want you to think of EH versus AY, right? A. Kind of gets really unstable sounding when you use the E vowel mixed in there. A, right? So, EH. Okay, and then we moved on to the E and the OO, which are the more closed off vowel sounds, and they lend themselves to higher notes a little bit better. Those vowels, you want to be careful to keep the inside of your mouth nice and spacious. Even though your lips are kind of coming closer together to close your outer mouth, the inner mouth, you want to keep some distance between your molars, keep some lift in the soft palate, and allow there to be some space for resonating inside the face. Beautiful. Next, we're going to experiment with a nasal pharyngeal sound. The nasopharynx is just fancy science language for the part of your throat that extends up into your nasal cavity. In this exercise, you'll place the sound forward and kind of in what feels like your nose or the snout, kind of the nose-mouth area. I used air quotes so you couldn't see it. It's likely that you may feel a sensation of vibration in the front of your front teeth, the mustache area, or your nose. And that is good stuff. That's what you want, to feel that sympathetic vibration in the front part of your face. Okay, so we'll take our quality inhale. We'll go on a siren, which means from the bottom of your range to the top and back down. We'll start by saying ooh, and on the way down, we'll use the word ring, but you're going to hang on the NG of the ring. So not ring, but ring. Okay, so it's going to sound nasal. It'll sound pretty ugly, but you really want to tap into that NG sound and get that forward vibration of the voice to happen. Okay, so full breath in. Here we go. Good, 2 more just like that. Inhale. Good, last one I'll leave you space to do on your own. Don't be shy, make it nasty. Here you go. Fantastic. Okay, the next thing we're going to say is a nonsense word that sounds like nyah. I spell it N-Y-A-H, nyah, or N-Y-E-A-H, I guess. And this is not supposed to sound pretty, y'all. This is supposed to be very nasal. It sounds like this. Great. For the last nasopharyngeal sound, we are going to use the word zing. And again, using that NG sound at the end, zing. It's going to sound funny. Okay, so z is also a consonant that we can sing on. It's got some pitch, z, right? So this one sounds like this. Zing, 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 za. Zing, 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 za, ah, 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 ah. So really open up the mouth for that za, drop the jaw, let the voice open out. But the goal is to keep your placement forward. So you find that nice bright placement with the zing, and then you keep the voice in that area of the body, or what feels like that area of the body, when you open out to za. Here we go. Zing, 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 za. Good. Sounds like those might not be very pleasing on the ear, but they do have a way of allowing you to feel the sensations of using a mixed register tone of voice, which is highly coveted in the contemporary singing world. Allow yourself to feel into those sensations and recognize them as what healthy, balanced singing feels like in your body. Developing that kind of awareness helps us understand how to place the voice in really resonant areas of the body. By developing that awareness, you're starting to recognize the conditions you have to create with your face and your jaw and your breath and all of the things that go into singing. You're starting to recognize what needs to happen to create the most pleasing acoustics in your vocal sound. And recognizing that, you'll start to just go right into those places without having to think about it. The last basic set of exercises that you can revisit time and time again to improve and strengthen your singing are called SOVTs. This is short for semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. And simply put, it means that you're partially blocking your airway while doing these exercises. The lip roll and the tongue roll that we already did fall into this category, along with a few other popular ones. We talked about Z, Z, or V, V. And these are both sounds in which your teeth are responsible for creating that partially blocked airflow, V, or Z. If you can feel it, that air is passing right through your teeth to make the sound. The last sound I'll introduce you today that falls under the SOVT category is what I like to call the Louis Armstrong. And it's when you let your cheeks puff up really big like a trumpet player by blowing air out of your mouth, but keeping just a teeny tiny crack in your lips open. And behind that, you say the sound, UH, with a pitch. It sounds like this. And if you can't get your cheeks to puff out, you need to close the opening in your lips just a bit, let less air escape. Okay, so we will start with the lip roll or the tongue roll, whichever you're more comfortable with, and we will move on a chromatic scale. That's a half step by half step movement. They're really tiny little steps, the smallest step you can take within the scale. As you repeat this exercise over time, feel free to substitute your own sounds, the ones that work best for you, instead of the tongue roll or the lip roll. You'll want to try the V or the Z or the Louis Armstrong as well. And just switch it up. Make sure you can do all of them, or as many as you can. We'll start low. It sounds like this. Keep going. Great. Next, we will make bigger jumps in our voice. So those were really, really tiny. These chords have been rolled out note, from bottom to top, and that's called an arpeggio. It goes up and back down again through the chord. The skips are much bigger in pitch, but the distance from the bottom note to the top note is the same as we were just singing. Let's try the Louis Armstrong cheeks this time on these arpeggios, and we'll start here. I'll sing these ones with you because they're really fun for me. Great. Now, we're going to do one last thing. We'll use that same exercise, but we want to start using scale degrees so you can get familiar with the major scale and the chord patterns that lie within it. So instead of it will sound like 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. And we'll start right there. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. Great. So when you're singing through those numbers, you're going to want to find some length in the vowels. 1, 5, right? It's not 1 or 5. It's not bright. It's nice and lengthened out. You'll want to create length in your face to do that, and you could even lift your eyebrows a bit while you're singing. You'll also seek to find the same balance and resonance that you experienced when we were doing the SOVT exercises as well as the nasopharyngeal exercises. Don't worry if you don't get all of that to happen all at once. We're just trying to see what's there in your voice. And once we reintroduce the element of language into our sound, try not to judge it as bad or good. Just notice what's there, play around with it. It will take some time to integrate the new breathing habits and the correct placement habits and the lengthened vowel sounds, and it may not happen for you all at once. Just feel free to focus on one thing at a time, then stop and rewind, add another element, and so on and so forth. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. These things will begin to integrate into your singing over time, and they will eventually become second nature. Just keep swimming. I hope you found this lesson valuable, and remember, singing is just like talking, but in bold. Hugs and hydration, friends. I'm Carissa. I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for spending your very most precious resource with me today, your time. My name is Carissa Schrader, and you've been hanging out at The Bold Vocal. If you found value in today's lesson, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up. That quick little 10 seconds of support allows me to continue to do what I love to do best, which is to educate you and singers around the world about your incredible, invisible human instruments. Don't forget, singing is just like talking, but in bold. I'll see you next time.